This is a menu of the Noe Pete's Bar and Grill. There's a lot of things. It's a Filipino-based cuisine, so it's very interesting, very new for me. They also have menu for big parties. If you look actually at the tables, they have really big tables for a lot of people. So that's fun. And of course the drink menu. So since they opened just like a couple of weeks ago, they have everything 50% off. And look at those prices. Pretty cheap for downtown. So in 50% off that, it's gonna be like $6 per cocktail. So yay!
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I have a couple of questions I want to ask you.
Awesome.
So what was your favorite artist growing up?
Oh, I wanted to be Avril Lavigne for sure.
Right.
The taste matured over time, but Avril Lavigne was my defining artist of my teen years.
That's cool. What's your favorite song of hers, if you can remember?
It's between like Complicated and Skater Boy or Happy Ending.
Oh yeah.
Between those three.
I love those ones too. That's cool. What's your favorite instrument to play?
Guitar. It's like the main instrument I play. I've been playing it since I was 7. Before I even like knew I wanted to be a singer, I thought I wanted to be like a shredding guitar player.
Oh wow. What style of music do you like most?
I love all styles. I really was into rock when I was younger, and then like harder rock in college. But I've always been really influenced by my parents, and they're Brazilian, so grew up with Latin music, loved dancing, and then eventually I found a sound in between all of that, and my sound now is much more pop with a Latin feel.
Yeah, I have a similar situation too. I was into rock, but then now it's more pop. That's cool. So when did you decide you want to be a musician? Like hardcore, full-time musician?
It's crazy. There was no like one moment where I was like, I'm gonna do this as a career, because when I was 7, I just had all these different dreams. I wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be like a pet store owner, a coffee shop owner, but I also wanted to be like a rock star. And then that was just kind of the one that stuck. And I've always been like, yeah, I'm gonna be a musician. I am a musician. It is what it is. So yeah, forever.
That's cool. So since you were like little, probably.
Yeah, like I picked up the guitar probably.
Awesome. So you grew up in Brazil or you grew up here?
I grew up in North Jersey. My parents are Brazilian, and I grew up in a very Brazilian community in North Jersey.
Oh, okay. So you speak Portuguese?
Yes, I do, fluently.
Can you say something?
I can. Eu sou filho de brasileiros.
That's it. I'm impressed. That's cool. Do you have a best gig story?
Best gig story. Oh, yes.
Fun.
So there's just those shows where the energy's right in the room, and it was perfectly rehearsed, and everything just felt right. That was actually here in downtown at Exchange LA. The company I work for my day job, we do events, and I actually got to participate in one, and there's like 800 people in the audience, and there's like there's a fashion show too.
Oh, that's real artists, right?
Yeah, real artists.
Cool.
And there's a like 20-foot runway, and I got to like be there in the middle of the crowd, like get on the floor and sing with them, and it was like really just an amazing high, beautiful show.
That's awesome. We have a worse story.
Oh, I have so many.
Tell us everything.
Yeah, so an old so I used to be in an all-girl teen rock band growing up for like 10 years, and with my sister and my best friend, my cousin, and people, even when we were like finally like adults, or even though we've been doing it for years, people often didn't take us seriously or were very sexist. So I have one case where we were in this big battle of the bands, and we were playing at Starland Ballroom in New Jersey, and I went to go backstage, and I was the security guard said no groupies were allowed, and didn't want to listen to me when I was trying to tell him I was in a band. While all my friends who were not in bands who were guys, were hanging out, and it was very frustrating. And then recently I played at Six Flags, and the sun overheated my music director's laptop with the tracks, and our guitars all go through the computer too, and our advanced technology combination with the sun kind of shut down the show.
And there were no amps, right? Just like
No.
amps, right?
No amps, no. Like, it was just my mic working, and the advanced technology is cool, but then with the sun, didn't work out in our favor.
So how did you end up performing it?
At some points I was doing it a cappella. We were trying to cover it and like continuing. And then eventually we had to cut the set short. So there was that.
That's very disappointing.
It's okay. I went on some roller coasters after and I got over it. You know.
So worth it. Okay. Have you ever experienced any difficulties, or have you ever struggled with payment after the gig? Or how long have you ever waited for it?
You know, I think I've gotten lucky in that regard. I've heard a lot of my friends who are musicians who have, but I don't play a lot of cover gigs. I have here and there, and usually they've been okay, where I settle at the end of the night, I get a check, or I get like a Venmo payment 15 days later is probably the longest I've had to wait. But I think that the thing that I have kind of struggled with is like the idea of like, do you know if they're just saying the truth? How many people did you bring in the door? If that's how you're getting paid, instead of like a flat payment with a lot of like when you're playing original music at, you know, concert venues, you're not in control to know how many people you brought in the door in ticket sales, and sometimes I've felt like certain places were kind of lying and underselling it so they could underpay me. But yeah.
My dish, look at that, that's like for 5 people. I don't know how I'm gonna finish it, but I'll try.
Leftovers.
Oh, look, this is a squid, a real squid. It's very big. And we got mimosas. Can you tell us about the process when you play original music? How do you book the gigs and how does it work? How do they pay you based on what? Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, for sure. So it could be really different, varying from spot to spot, but in most cases there's like a deal with tickets, and with original shows it'll usually be like a promoter's the middleman between you and the venue, and so they might reach out to you and say, hey, I want to add you to this bill, I have these dates available, or you can reach out yourself and like set up a whole thing where you have other bands in mind. I act as my own promoter a lot of the time and reach out directly to venues via email, and I'll have like a couple of other different acts that I think would make a good, you know, night, and reach out about certain dates. And then generally, generally you definitely want to attract a lot of people out to the venue, you know, like it's like worth their time, and you know, because they have costs, lights, bartender, security they have to pay.
Yeah.
So you want to get enough people out, but generally when you do a deal directly with the venue, you get paid better because there's not a middleman taking a cut. But then you kind of have to organize it yourself as well too, and put a lot of work behind promotion. And then, you know, they'll usually keep a cut and you keep the rest, and by the end of the night they're paying that out in most cases. So yeah, that's how you book an original music gig.
Okay, thank you. What's the maximum of people that you're supposed to bring, like in general?
It depends on the space, you know, like
Let's say like small venue.
Small, okay. Like I feel like a lot of, like the biggest place you'd play in like the small circuit would be a 200 capacity place, right? So in that case, of course, ideally you want to like max out the place, but if you have 4 acts, if each of them can, you know, bring out 25 to 30 people, in that case, that'd be beautiful. But for anything smaller than that, if you're bringing out at least 15 people to a show, I think you're in a really solid space.
Yeah.
If you are at a place where you don't think you can even get 15 people out, maybe you're not ready to play, you know, those kind of gigs. Maybe it's better to start with like an open mic night where you're playing 3 songs, but you're generating an audience and a fan base.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Tell us more about yourself. How did you start? What style of music you play? Do you sing? What instruments? Everything.
Yeah.
Tell us everything.
So I started playing music when I was 7.
Yeah.
Started my own band when I was 11 with like my sister, all girls playing rock music, trying to be Avril Lavigne. And then we played together for years. My parents were promoters, so I was always a little bit like leaning into the music business area. And they put us to play a lot of shows. We were very active, even though we were kids, even though we were awful. And then when I decided to go to college, Berklee College of Music, at first I wanted to do performance, songwriting, something like that. And then as I got deeper in, I decided to do music business because I had so much interest in it.
My choice.
Yeah, and like you have so much access to other classes too. So as much as I didn't get as much access to keep developing my craft, I felt like I grew a lot in the first 2 years, and then I focused definitely on the business stuff. Moved out to LA after that because I was sick of the cold weather, even though I'm from right outside New York. And that's when I did a complete 180, because once I was in college, I was still playing in a band, and I kind of continued the same members. My sister moved out there. My cousin, who's my drummer, moved out there to Boston, but we continued with different people, guitar player and stuff. And we had a lot of a harder sound. We were called Catching Moons. We played like hard rock, almost metal stuff. And then when I came to LA, I had always been writing pop songs on my own. I decided to completely dive into this project that I gave myself an alter ego named Lyon, because my real name is Kim. And I was writing pop music with a Latin influence. I wanted to make people dance. My parents, like I said, were promoters. They're Brazilian, put on parties for the Brazilian community, and I was like in love with the idea of just making people feel like they're having a ton of fun, you know? And so I decided to go in more of that direction. And that's what I've been doing ever since here in LA, playing out my songs, putting out music as Lily Lyon.
That's awesome. Where can we follow you?
Lily Lyon Music, so just so you know, it's spelled Lily, and then Lion, instead of like the animal, it's Lyon, and music.
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions really fast. You have to answer within like 50 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Gold or silver?
Gold.
If you were an animal, what would you be?
Lion.
If you were a plant, what would you be?
Cactus.
Okay. Coffee with milk or no milk?
Black.
Alright. Paris or Caribbeans?
Caribbeans.
Right. Android or Apple?
Apple.
Okay. Cash, card or phone pay?
Card?
Okay. Queen or Beatles?
What? Queen or Beatles?
There's a siren going.
I'm sorry, I love Queen, but Beatles.
Okay. What are Sundays like?
Brunch, practice, maybe soccer.
Awesome. Go to karaoke song.
What?
A karaoke
Go to
song,
karaoke
yeah.
song? It's I Will Survive.
Oh, sorry. Can you sing a little bit of it?
First I was afraid, I was petrified.
Thank you. Favorite food?
Chocolate.
Ice cream flavor.
Coffee with chocolate.
Best advice anyone ever given to you?
Stop overthinking things.
Okay. Worst advice?
Damn it!
2,
Ah!
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
My mom, pay for parking every time, because being towed is worse. But you can find free parking, you just gotta try.
True. Okay, things you always carry with you in your bag.
Things I barely carry anything. I never have a purse. It's just my phone, wallet, keys. I don't want anything, any weight on me.
Okay, perfect. That's it. Thank you.
Awesome.
That was fun. You were fast.
So I'm here in Lyon. This is majestic.